What is up, my friends, and welcome to Closet Cam. Yes, look at all this shit. Holy crap, I've just upgraded all of these machines. So these are all now elite tier machines. And look at these things go. I mean, Jesus Christ. The throughput of this is crazy. These are all upgraded now. I've just put tons and tons of upgrades in every single one of these. And they are, you know, it is... If we go like to the end of the line over here, look at this. Look at this. This is amazing. It's fantastic. I love it. Oh. Now we have had. It's not been without problems. I won't tell a lie. There have been problems. So I completely underestimated the amount of oxygen I was going to need for these, and as you can see, it's just about sort of keeping up now. But that's because downstairs, if we go around sort of over this way a little bit, if I can get through, over here I've had to bang down 4 more electrolytic separators with water input from this guy, just to keep up with the amount of oxygen that's needed for this. These are all, these are being fed off their own power supply as well, from these gas burning generators. So I've got like quite a little compact little setup here. So this is a crusher that's getting pumpkins from these, and it is making hydrogen, which is then being fed into this guy, which is making ethylene, which is feeding these 3 gas burning generators over here, and that is just about keeping up with the energy demands of these 3, because these are really, really hungry, and you can see that. Look, and though that's just all this power is just for these 4 machines here, and it's just about keeping up in terms of energy production. Sorry, in terms of oxygen production. Then every now and again we just completely run out of ore, and everything goes away and it all goes quiet. But then you suddenly get like 1 piece of ore turns into 5 of these shards, so it only takes you to get like a couple of bits of ore in the system, and everything sort of kicks into life and it all starts going mental. But as you can see, the throughput is pretty insane, really. It's really, really good. I like it. I like it a lot. And if we look at the amount of ingots that we've got, let's have a look at this. Look at all this. So I left this on for a couple of hours, and we had 2,000 iron before. We've got 5,000 now. Look at the amount of tin we've got. 16,000 tin. Jesus Christ. We might have to start voiding tin. So let me give you a bit of a base tour, actually, because I kind of done quite a bit of upgrading, kind of a bit of balancing as well, sort of between episodes. What I've done is I've moved my osmium tanks, so they're just sitting there. They're ready for the vending upgrade. These 2 are ready for the vending upgrade. I've added, so I replaced. There was 2 osmium tanks there before, wasn't there? I replaced the osmium tanks with another chemical crystallizer, because the chemical crystallizers are the one that's holding everything up. Then I put another line in as well over here. So, you know, these are the ones that are really slowing down the line, these chemical crystallizers, because you can't get a chemical crystallizer factory. You can only do 1 at a time. And even though it's doing it fairly rapidly, it's still not enough to... well, maybe it does make a little bit of a backlog in these. Maybe I should get some more injecting factories here. That might be a good idea, but who knows. Now, in terms of sulfuric acid production, the line that we've got set up here is doing really, really well. What I have done, though, is I've put an ender chest down here to take all of the sulfur that we had in our system. And in terms of netherrack as well, I've started increasing the amount of throughput of netherrack by upgrading this to a tier 3 void resource miner. So that's good. That's and I've focused mainly on accuracy modifiers to increase this red lens's effectiveness at getting netherrack, but still it doesn't seem to be particularly effective. I've stopped voiding all of the resources that we were getting from that void resource miner. I've just got a thing up here that extracts the netherrack, and then I've got a thing here that extracts the sulfur. So there's 2 types of sulfur dust, one from Tech Reborn and one from Mekanism, and then one from Industrial Craft as well. The one from Mekanism you can only get using a certain method. So let's have a look at the sulfur. So the one from Mekanism you can only get from extracting from gunpowder, which is a way to do it. We could set up a creeper farm, possibly. The one from Industrial Craft 2 is the one that we've been doing, so that's extracted from netherrack. Now, compressed netherrack takes absolutely ages and doesn't work, doesn't produce any sulfur dust, or maybe it does just with a chance of 15%, but I put a couple through and waited for ages and it didn't produce any. So it's a bit of a, I wouldn't go that route if I was you. The sulfur dust from Tech Reborn, however, we've got quite a bit of this in stock, or we did do, I've used it all now, but you can get it from extracting glowstone, but it takes 12,050 seconds, which is quite a long time. It's like about 10 minutes, isn't it? No, that's like 20 minutes actually. Or you can get it from netherrack dust, which gives you 4 sulfur dust over a course of 120 seconds, but also it's a byproduct of all these different ores in the industrial grinder, and in the industrial electrolyzer as well. You can extract it from blaze powder in 15 seconds. So depending on how we do, and I am not saying that it's a problem at the moment because we've got a backlog of sulfuric acid, so I think it's keeping up. You know, it doesn't use much sulfuric acid in these. You know, these are all full, and it's working perfectly fine. I did have a bit of a problem where I had a few millibuckets of osmium left in the system, and what I had to do was get this thing called a gauge dropper. So if you've ever used one of these, what you can do, I won't do it on this one, but I'll show you. What you do is you get your gauge dropper and you just drop it on there, and that will take out any residual slurry that's in the system. Okay, so if you get stuck with that, use the gauge dropper. It's really, really good. So you can see there in the tooltip that I had 199 millibuckets of lead slurry left in the system for some reason. I don't know why. I think it might be to do with breaking pipes and stuff. I might have broken a pipe that had a little bit of slurry in it, and it left the rest in the system and then blocked it all up. But so far so good. This has been running for a good 6 hours now, and it hasn't blocked up. These lines are flowing beautifully well. There we go. That's really, really good. Excellent. Now, one last thing to show you. We were really, really struggling with brine production, and really, really struggling, not necessarily with brine production, but yes, brine production, I suppose. So let's go upstairs. Now, I've increased the height on this by quite a bit, and it's taken it from, I think it was like 2.8 millibuckets per tick of brine production to 91.94 millibuckets per tick. And it was really, really struggling for water. So I've kind of gone a bit mental with the water and got sort of this setup going on here. So I've got this buffer tank, Mekanism buffer tank there, and that's keeping the water full up. It was just, I had like a normal reservoir and it was killing it completely. I tried a couple of things. I tried having a range pump, pumping in the overworld and pumping fluids into an ender chest. The trouble with that is it found lava and got contaminated with lava, which stopped the whole thing from working, so that wasn't particularly good. There might be a better method to do it, and if you know of one, then let me know, but I haven't really invested that much in this. I've just got some mechanical pipes and a couple of reservoirs. It's not a big deal to do this. It's not a big deal to set this up, and it is doing a trick for us. We were up to about 5 minutes ago, we did have a backlog of brine in the system, but I did dump a load of ores that I had kind of left in my ME system into here, and I think we're pretty much cleared out of ores. We've got the ruby ore in there, but we can't really do that in this system. So that's pretty good. I mean, that's where I'm at the moment, and I think we're pretty much done with Closet Chem. I think we're done here. I think we're done. We've got all the gases that we need. We've got the sodium that we need. For the creative vending upgrade, we've got the chlorine. No, we don't need chlorine. We've got the hydrogen chloride. We've got the osmium, and we've got the ethylene. So all we need now is DT fuel for the creative vending upgrade. So why don't we just have a quick look at DT fuel, and we can kind of plan out what we need to make for DT fuel, because it shouldn't be too bad. DT fuel from Mekanism, and it's this one, so it's the gas. It comes from tritium and it comes from deuterium, and you have to make it in a chemical infuser, and then deuterium. So the trouble is, when you click on these, they don't actually work, so you kind of have to type them in as well. So we'll type in deut and we'll type in trit. There we go. So deuterium is heavy water in an electrolytic separator. Okay. And then tritium is lithium. And we need a solar neutron activator, which is not too bad. It's a HDPE sheet, so we need to use some of our plastic for that, which is just a HDPE pellet. So we can make that. So maybe, do we really want to do another mechanism focused episode, or do we want to do something else? Because I'm a bit bored. If I'm completely honest, I'm bored with mechanism at the moment because I've done nothing for the past 2 weeks than fiddle around with this stuff. And although I have enjoyed it, it is a bit boring now. I'm kind of bored of doing it. So maybe we'll put aside DT fuel for the moment, and maybe we'll focus on some Draconic evolution, because I've not done that before. Draconic evolution looks really fun. So I suppose the first thing that we should do is there a guide for Draconic evolution? Maybe it's this, the Draconic evolution information tablet. So some draconian dust and then just some stone. So maybe we can make that and we can have a little look-see at this. There we go, Draconic evolution guide. Let's have a little look and see what we should do. Not a big fan of the initial starter configuration, I must say, for the window. It's not very good. Maybe we should. What is this? Main window. There we go, that's a bit better, isn't it? And then the menu, we need to turn that right up as well. There we go. The nav window, let's turn the opacity up on that one. That's a bit better, isn't it? And then the text, let's make the text like really dark so we can actually see it. That would be wise. Okay, good. So let's have a little read of the Draconic evolution. So this is a little bit of a sales pitch from the mod author about his in-game documentation mod that he's currently building, which sounds like a really good idea. He's looking to create a mod that will have all the documentation in one place. To be honest, mate, that sounds like a freaking brilliant idea. I'm all up for that. So maybe keep an eye on Project Intelligence. That sounds good. So let's have a look. Oh, look at this. This is lovely. I like this. It's really, really nice. The Draconic evolution is a mod that focuses mainly on extremely powerful endgame tools, weapons, and machines, whilst at the same time maintaining balance, although that can be tricky, with equally expensive recipes and very difficult bosses which we'll need to go through in order to get these items. This mod started more like an open blocks or extra utilities type mod, so it has also had a lot of seemingly random but useful blocks and items. Typo in blocks there. Some I'm just proofreading it for you. Who's the author of this? I think it's a guy called Brandon, isn't it? Well done, Brandon. This looks really good. I like your mod. So this is really, really exciting. I don't know where to start with this. Fusion crafting, I've seen that. That's it's like the Empower, or the next step up from the Empower. So that could be a good place to start, maybe. But I think these take a lot of energy to power these guys. Fusion crafting setup. So this process is actually fairly simple. Place fusion crafting core, then place fusion crafting injectors anywhere in the north, south, east, west, or above or below. So these are the valid locations. So as long as that's in the middle, then that's valid. Okay, so that's one thing that we could do. So a fusion crafting thing is what we want to make. Maybe we want to think about some power storage though, because we're making all of that energy in our solar generator and it's not really getting used for anything. Maybe we need one of these things in our base. Yes, maybe we do. Look at this. If you like energy storage, you're going to love this. So tier 1, 45 million. Tier 2, 273 million. Tier 3, 1.64 billion. Tier 7, 2.14 trillion. So what do we need? I listened to a Minecrafter video and they said go straight for the tier 7. So maybe I just want to go straight for the tier 7. I mean, we've got those redstone blocks. We've got tons and tons of draconium. I don't know if we've got 210 draconium blocks. How many would that be? That would be 210 times 9, which is 1,890. Let's just check our stock quickly. Yes, so we've got enough draconium ingots. Ah, we've got quite a few blocks actually. Are they in a compacting drawer? Let's just, yeah, they're in a compacting drawer. So we've got 235. So we've got enough draconian blocks, and we've got enough redstone blocks. So all we need is, what was it? An energy core and then 36 energy core stabilizers. So let me just write that down real quick, and then we can have a look at the energy core stabilizers and the energy core recipe. Because I'm not for mucking about. I just want to go straight for the big one. And we definitely haven't got enough for the tier 8, that's for sure. So we need 1 energy core, and then we need 36 energy core stabilizers. Okay, got it. Written down. So energy core stabilizers, let's have a look at the recipe for these. So these go like that. Okay, yeah, no worries. So the bigger, the higher the tier, the bigger you need of these. So you need a particle generator and wither diamonds. The wither diamonds is just a nether starter diamond, so that's fine. We can make those. Let's go back. And then particle generator is a draconic core, some blocks of redstone and blaze rods. So that is no problem either. So why don't we can make these energy core stabilizers. Oh. I mean, we need energy pylons as well, so none of that is too bad. Right, okay, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home, and I'm going to program in some of this junk, actually, into my ME system. And we're going to get a Draconic core online. That's the objective for today. But before we do that, I want to think about where I'm going to set this thing up, because this is going to be pretty big, and it's also going to look like pretty smashing as well, I think. So maybe I don't know if I want to do it here or whether I want to do it in my space station. In fact, we haven't visited the space station in ages. Just going to quickly have a look at the space station. I really want to think about where I want to keep this. Let's go to space station 5. Let's go over to here, because it's a really nice looking render on this thing, and if we can keep it off world, it'd be really good, I think. Oh shit. Go home. I haven't got my spacesuit on. Crap. Where's my spacesuit gone? Spacesuit. Let's grab all of this stuff. Let's take all of this off. Let's put our spacesuit back on. There we go. Oh, you might have noticed actually that I've got my Closet Gamer t-shirt on. Look at that. Pretty cool. So I switched my account across. I've usually been sharing an account with my family. So we usually got one account in my household, and I've switched it across. So I had to sort of re-get all my trophies again, which was a bit laborious. I just sort of destroyed the old ones, chucked them in the lava, and then had to go and dig up a piece of cobblestone, make another hammer, make another calculator, make another one of these, get one of those, pick it up and drop it, pick up and drop one of those, and so on and so on and so on, until I got my trophies back. And the other thing that was a pain as well, when you switch to a different username or to a different account, is your ME system no longer likes you anymore because of this security terminal. So I had to go back into my old account, break that, destroy it, and then get rid of it and put it back down again. But it all works now, and so that's, if you see achievements popping up left, right, and centre, then that's why, because all my achievements got reset as well, apart from my age achievements. So now let's go back to the space station with our spacesuit on. So do we want it in here? Because this is a nice, it's quite a nice peaceful place over here, and it'll probably fit in really nicely. And I'm not going to lie to you, it would look the part in here, wouldn't it? Kind of half in the floor, half on top. Maybe it's time to fix up this space station a bit more. Now what we'll do, we'll go home and we'll get these things up and crafting at least. Once we've got the stuff crafted, then we'll think about where we're going to put it. So let's get rid of the spacesuit for the moment, because there's other things that we need to think about if we're going to move into space, and I don't really want to move everything across. Probably what we want to do is get some of our ME system hooked up over there. Maybe we want to get one of those trans-dimensional systems for our ME network. I don't really know. I don't. it fills me with dread having to think about moving across all this stuff. I won't tell a lie. And I think a lot of it could probably do with staying here anyway, because a lot of it causes lag. I'm gonna have to have a think about it, but let's get everything set up anyway. First of all, so let's go into here. Let's get these particle generators fixed up first and looking sharp. There we go. There's that guy there, and perhaps we can chuck one of those in there. So 36 is going to kick off a big ton of crafting, I think. So it's going to craft 81 nether stars, which is going to take 243 wither skeleton skulls. God knows how many singularities. 143 wither diamonds. Bosh, go. So withers being spawned and being killed. Yes. Nice. So it's got quite a few withers to kill. About 50 odd, I think. It's got to work its way through. So I'll let that go. And I'll have a think about where I'm going to store my draconic core as well. And then I'll be back in a bit. Okay, my friends, we are back, and we have got everything that we need. So I've got all of my draconian blocks there, and I've got all of my blocks of redstone. I've got my energy core stabilizers crafted. I also made some energy pylons, so these are going to be sucking the energy into our draconic core and pulling it out as well. So you get 2 per craft, it's not too bad. Just a draconian core and just a draconic core and an eye of the ender, so that is okay. I think we're ready to go. I think we're ready to set up our draconic core. Now I was thinking about where to set this up, and I was sort of debating in my mind whether to set it up halfway embedded in the roof of this building, or maybe over that building there. I thought, you know, half embedded would be pretty good, but because it's such a nicely rendered block, I decided to do something different for this one and make its own building for it. So this is my Mayan Temple, and it's modelled from a picture and also a really good guide as well that I followed, a build guide. Unfortunately, I can't find the video that I followed. If I find it, I'll put it in the description. So let's have a little bit of a tour of this, because it's a nice new building that we've got. So inside the main kind of structure here, we've got like this. This was going to be like a little pool, like a pool of eternal youth or something like that. But that's where the sacrifices are going to happen. So don't tell Larry. I think he's down there swimming around like he normally is. Let's go down the stairs. Let's turn off our ridiculous engine for a moment. So I've sort of added some damage to it as well, just to make it look a bit old. This texture here, I basically got some granite because I knew I had tons and tons and tons of it, because I knew I was going to need tons of it for this build. And I reskinned it with the Conquest stone bricks texture. Then I just reskinned the cracked stone bricks with the Conquest texture packs as well, and added the mossy ones from there as well, and then added some vines as well. Just went and harvested some vines with some shears. I also got some saplings from the jungle. Went and found a jungle biome and got some saplings and just planted tons and tons of saplings all over the place. Bone milled a few, then got more saplings and just kept doing that, and got quite a few trees. They're quite rare though, apparently, the saplings for those. I had to cut down quite a few to actually get anywhere with the saplings. So here we've got some chisel blocks as well. So I used a Futura blocks and I just covered them with a layer of cracked bricks, just to sort of give it this embedded effect here, with like the alien technology running through it. So I like that. I think that looks pretty good. Done the same round here. Then in here, this is kind of like the main walkway. So in the future, what we'll have is we'll bring over all our machines, and we've got these sort of rooms located to the 2 sides over here, and this is mirrored over the other side. Now in here, this is the main area. I'm really pleased with how this turned out actually. Let's have a quick dance up here. So in the centre we have our area where our draconic core is going to be. These are going to be the guys that hold the stabilizers, so it should be like that's the centre there. I just wanted to have them a little bit further forward, so they're going to go like there, I believe. So just like that. So there's that one done, and that should line up perfectly with that centre of the draconic core over there. So that's one of those done. Let's have a look at some more stuff. So these are the side rooms again. If we go into one of these, they're empty at the moment. I haven't got anything in there. That's the front entrance over there. and then they're mirrored kind of over this way a little bit, and I've got more of this sort of cracked alien tech going on in here as well. So this is another empty room. All the rooms are empty pretty much. And this is like another little area as well. I was thinking I could move all my storage drawers over here and just have them all along there. And that would look pretty good. So let's set this next one up, which is going to go like this. So these are the core stabilizers. So these are very important. It's going to keep our core nice and stable. I'll just put this last one down actually, and we'll have a bit more of a look around the base, and I'll show you what else I've done. I don't think this is the last one. Another one. So let's do this one. Jesus Christ. This jetpack is insanely fast. I don't know how I lived without it before. Like crashing into the walls at all times. So we've got these sort of like little miniature versions of the temple as well, dotted around the place. So there's one over that side as well. I'm not quite sure what I was thinking with these. I was just sort of going along with it and trying to figure out what looked nice. What I might do is probably put some machines in here, maybe sort of have them embedded in the floor. These, I really like these guys. Someone said to me that they look like sea lions. I think they look like dogs. They're supposed to look like dogs, you know, holding the stabilizer structures and things. And I've sort of chiseled these a little bit as well. So I think that's about it. Oh, there's one more thing. There's some stuff downstairs as well. So this is going to probably be where we keep our ME system down here. I've got a little door over there. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just sort of looking ominous, waiting for someone to come out and do a sacrifice or something. What I'll probably do is have the brain of our ME system down here, and then have it being distributed all over the place. I'm really going to try and work hard to make sure that you can't see any wires, because that will really spoil the effect. So why don't we now then get this core set up, because I want to see what it looks like. I haven't even checked it out yet. So we're going to go straight for the tier 7. So stabilizers are valid. I've already checked that. And let's put our build guide on so we can get this guy set up. Now I'm not going to do all of this on cam because it's going to take quite a while. Okay, just putting the last finishing touches to this multi-block. It's a really useful kind of hologram actually that comes with Draconic Evolution. I like it a lot. So that I think is done. Is it? Is it done? Have I got it at the right level? Let's just double check this. Are you going to activate core invalid? Doesn't like it. I've missed one off down the bottom here, look. Now are you valid? Core valid, stabilizers valid. Okay, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? I'm ready for this. Activate. Nice. Oh man, that looks better than I thought it was going to look. Fantastic. I love it. Look at that. It looks like these guys are kind of screaming at it. Fantastic. I love it. So we should, in our little room below, if we kind of just drop down here, we should be able to see it from down here as well. That's what I wanted. Look at that. That looks amazing. I love it. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to need to do in order to, well, first get the power out of this thing, even though it's got bugger all in it so far, is to use one of these Draconic Evolution energy pylons, which we're going to put there. So that's going to be sucking the power out, so that's not activated yet. So we need to put a glass. I think the glass needs to face the energy pylon, so like that. At the moment, I think that's in output mode because the sphere's kind of resonating outwards. You can see that sort of energy bursting outwards. So if you click it with an empty hand, it should go in. And that means that should now drag the energy out of the core. Okay, so the energy will come out the core down the bottom, and then what we'll do is we'll have a distribution network with some crystals, sort of pinging the energy all over the place as and where we need it. So let's now let's turn on our jetpack. Let's go upstairs, or not upstairs. Let's go up to the roof, up to here, because this is where the other one's going to be. So this is going to be the transmit power into the energy core on here, like that. and then if we put another piece of glass on there, then that resonating outwards means that it should be filling that up. Now this has got nothing inside it at the moment. So if we go up, we should now be able to look at this guy. So he's got 20.5 KRF in it. I don't know where that's come from because I didn't put that in there. Interesting. I don't know where that RF's come from. So what we need to do is look at a way of getting power in and out of this guy. So for the one that's going to be coming out, what we're going to do is, so our system, if we go back to our factory, actually there's one thing that I want to do first. Let me get a matter receiver so I can warp to here. So I've got a couple already. That's really good. So we're going to put one down here somewhere. And what I'll probably do is I'll probably just put it in this doorway here for the moment. I think that sounds like a good plan. We'll put it in this doorway because this doorway doesn't really lead anywhere anyway. But I might put another room down here, I'm not quite sure. And we'll call this one the crypt because what I want to do with this room is maybe have some like sarcophagus. I'm not sure, did the Mayans have sarcophagi? Not quite sure. I'll have to have a look at some more pictures of the inside of Mayan temples and figure out what I'm going to do with this room. But I'm thinking a crypt. I think they used to store their dead people underground, didn't they? I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure. So this room actually, I used a quarry card with the RF Tools Builder to make this room. It's like 51 by 51, and it does it pretty much straight away. And then you can also you can give a shape card to it, and it will build a hollow box for you. So I just made like a hollow box. And it's 9 tool by like 51 by 51, and I just hollowed out the top. It was really, really easy actually. It didn't take long at all. The hardest bit was getting the positioning right in the shape card because that's quite difficult to do. Now for this other one, for this other teleporter, I can either put it up here because that might be a good place to put it, or where am I going to be spending most of the time in terms of crafting? So that's, which is the front entrance. The front entrance is over there. So maybe I think this area over here, this is going to be like quite an important area because this is where a lot of our tools and stuff's going to go. I'm not sure where I'm going to put like the ME terminals and stuff like that, but if we just call that temple ground, that will be fine for the moment until we think of something a bit more inventive. So now we should be able to whiz around here. Oh, I haven't put any power on them. That's a bit of a, that was a bit of a dummy mistake. Okay, I think I'll I've got this power cell, but I don't really want to use it for that. I'll get some more power cells actually later on. Right, so in terms of the energy transfer options that are available to us, so we've got the RF Tools power cell, and then we've also got the Ender IO dimensional transceiver. Now both of these are only capable of 20k RF per tick, so the dimensional transceiver is 20k, this guy is 5k per side, but it's actually got 6 sides, hasn't it? So that's actually 30k that it can transfer, but it needs to have one side on it. So I think, you know, the power cells, they're fairly cheap. We've got them on craft. I don't think we need to really bother with this because if, you know, we're not too far off creative power, and if we've got creative power, then we can have our creative power cells over here with us. So the only thing that we're missing, so we've got the solar generators on craft. Chaotic cores, we haven't got those, so we need to get some tiered crafting going on. But in terms of power, I think, you know, I think we should be okay with these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to whiz upstairs, and what I'm going to do is I've already got conduits on here, so these are conduit facades here, here, and here. So if I just get my power cell and plonk one of those on there like that, then this can be linked to our inputs. So the inputs from our solar panel and from our extreme reactor are all on ID 8. So if I link this to that, that should start getting power. And then if I send it out and then get some conduit, some Ender IO conduit, which is capable of, I think this is 20,000 RF per tick, this cable, so that's no problem to be transferring that. So if we then go like this, and then like this, and then like this, that should start draining that of power. We should see that our core starts filling up. What are you getting? You're getting 680. but maybe some other stuff is draining as well. So let's not worry about that for the moment, because it's probably filling up the internal buffers of our stuff in our base. Now this, so what's this going to be? This is going to be like a big battery, effectively. It's going to replace our Ender IO capacitors that we've got back in our base. Yes, I believe that's right. So what we need to do is have this one here, and then we need to link this one to ID4. So we can't use ID8, we need to use ID4. So let's have these coming out of here to each one of these sides on this. And we can use the conduit to go around the sides. We don't need to have it touching each face of the energy pylon. We can just go like this, I think. I think that should be okay, like that. So that should be 20k RF on each one of those sides. Yes. And this should be able to drain the power that it wants to drain from the core. Okay, so this is getting 680. It's got quite a few million RF in it already, so it's not doing too badly. But if we go home and let's go down to our factory over here. So this guy here, yeah, he's taken a lot of our power, and we've got another one of these upstairs. I forgot to chunk load some of the mining world quite recently, because I sort of unchunk loaded it when I went over there. So this is ID4. So this is the input into this. I don't really think that we need this one here, because we want our input to come from our core. So if we have this one here as the output from our core, and we do all sides to out, that should mean it will start draining, because it's not linked to anything right now. Okay, so that will start filling that up. Then if we go back to our Draconic core, then we can link the one that's underneath it. Where the bloody hell am I? I really need to get those anchors sorted out, don't I? Jesus Christ. Right, so now if we link this one over here, this can be number 4. Okay, so this will be in. That will fill up like rapidly, because it's getting the energy from here. It's filling up this buffer as well, and it's draining that into there. So that should be getting quite a lot of RF per tick. Now if we go back to our factory floor, we should see a big increase in power. So we've got 13,000 RF per tick coming in. That's because we're only using we're using 5 of the sides, so we should see a lot of power. But then again, so we've got this guy over here that is also draining as well. So this is filling up. So that's filling up fairly slowly, but then don't forget, this is also supplying our void miners as well. So they are being powered by Ender IO conduits, I think. Or did I disconnect them? Did I connect them and put them on a power cell? I don't think I did. So maybe now would be a good time to do that. Maybe now would be a good time to sever these connections and put them onto a power cell. What do you think? Does that sound like a good plan? I think that sounds like a good plan, because then we can reclaim some of this cable. So let's sever this connection to these guys. And then what we'll see is like a big increase in power, but we're not going to see it for very long. Because what we need to do is we need to go back down to our factory, and we need to say this is basically the main power line, if you like. So let's link this to number 4. So this is for wire distribution, and then this is for wireless distribution. So if we now go back up, let's go, let's do it the proper way. Let's go like round here, and then let's go up and then out. It's getting really hard to navigate around here. And then let's sort of whiz underground over to here. So we could put our power cell here, and then we can give it this link card here. That'll fill up, set all sides to out. Then we should be able to give our void miners lots and lots of delicious power, and we'll see quite a big drain on there. I think 15k should be enough, but I'm not quite sure, so let's give it a little bit more. Let's go around there as well. Yeah, so now we'll see the odd spike in draining. You can see that 11.5 is sort of dropping down every now and then as the void miners activate and sort of fire their little laser drills. Yes, okay, good. I think that seems to be working anyway. think that's working okay. Let's just double check something. What are we doing? We've got a net gain of 4k on here, and then what are we doing in a Draconic core? So the idea is that these buffers will fill up around the base, okay, and the drains on our power will be probably the biggest drain will probably be the void miners. Then anything else will be dumped into the core. So it's got nothing in it at the moment. It's not really gaining anything, simply because I think it's just dumping everything straight back out into the system because it's filling up all of those buffers. So let's give it a few minutes and get these buffers filled up. Actually, no, what we can do is we can go, let's go home, let's go over to here, and then let's go over to the mining world because I've set something up that I wanted to show you guys. And it's very, very good. It works very, very well, but I turned it off because I didn't want to waste all of the fuel for it, actually. So let me just... So how are these doing? I think these are doing... They're going fairly slowly, but that's because we've not got much ore coming in now. I think we've worked our way through our backlog. We need to probably increase our sort of ore generation. I'm not quite sure if we do. So this is what I wanted to show you guys. So I've put some liquid ender in our extreme reactor now. So 20 buckets of liquid ender in here, and you can use the alloy smeltery to make that. And you just put 4 ender pearls per bucket, and so you need 4 per bucket. And that will give you 20 if you're doing this design anyway. So you put underneath these blocks, I broke all of these blocks, and then the block underneath you put a bucket of liquid ender in each one of the spaces there, and it completely ruins the effect because I like looking at the cores filling up with yellorium. So never mind. So this guy now, if you remember before, he was producing us about 8,500 RF per tick, but now with the coolant he is going through a lot less fuel, but he's also producing just over 20,000 RF per tick, which is fantastic. Now the problem is that I think once this gets up to temperature, it might go up to about 22,000. So we'll be like losing 2,000 RF per tick. So I don't think we can transfer that much into our RF tools power cell. But we are using 1, 2, 3, 4 of the sides, so I'm wondering if we can transfer more than 20,000 if we use this next side down here and just put this guy on there. So I'm wondering about that. Now let's see how this is doing. So it's slowly creeping up. It's filling up its internal buffer, so it's pushing stuff into here. Now this is on link ID 8, so this should be going into our core, and this one is link ID A as well, so they should both be going into our core. So now let's go home, and what we can do actually whilst we're here is we just check down here and see how this is doing. That's right, good. So this is getting about 20,000 RF per tick, so it's going straight through the core and dumping straight into the system, but it's slowly filling up. Now that is with the drain that we've also got from our void miners running. And that is running 2 tier 3 ore miners, 1 tier 3 resource miner, and a tier 2 resource miner as well. So, and all of the rest of the machines that are going on in terms of ore processing, which is not much now. We've got our mechanism stuff sorted out. So that is pretty much almost full. So once that is full, then we'll know what our net gain of RF per tick is with the setup we've got. We've got between 15 and 20k RF per tick coming from the solar panel, and then we've got about 22 coming from our extreme reactor. And then I think that so there we go, it's full up now, it's slowly starting to drop. And then if we go to the basement, we should see that this one is full. Good. So the output is 2087. So for the 2 miners it's 2087 that we're losing. Okay, so then the other one, so we should be pushing out probably around 4,000 RF per tick to support those void miners. So what we should see now in our Draconic core is a big gain in terms of power input into this guy. So let's whiz downstairs. Now there's one more problem, that we're only really touching, we're touching 5 sides on here, so the maximum that we'll be pushing out, I believe, is about 25k RF per tick, which is not really good. Well, I think what's happening is that are buffers on these two guys, because these have got quite large internal buffers, these energy pylons. So if I hit you with an empty hand, what happens? Do you start dumping energy into this? Yes, you do. So it's getting 14.5k RF per tick, but it's got some drains on it because I think it's filling up the internal buffer of this guy down here. Yes, it is. It's got a massive internal buffer. So let's turn that off for a minute, and then let's see what we're gaining now. So 25k RF per tick. So each one of the sides on the RF Tools power cell is actually kicking out RF for us. So what we could do is to get another 5k RF per tick out of this. Actually, no. What we can do is we could probably put another power cell on here. Let's get another card on craft real quick. So let's get 3 more cards on craft for our transceivers. In actual fact, do I need to do that? Because I could maybe just use capacitors for those. Because the amount of times that we teleport to them. I've just realised something. I don't even need those. All I need is anchors, don't I? It's travel anchors that I need. It's not even it's not even those ones that I need. I need these guys. Good. I was about to run power to them and I didn't even need to. But what we do need is another card. So let's grab another card, because then we can dump some more power into this thing, I think. So let's get one more card on craft. It's a little bit of crafting. It's climb flask and lots of other bits and pieces. So actually I've got all that stuff in stock. That was pretty good. So now what we need to do is to make sure that we can get to the sides of this. So maybe if we move this one from there, and let's move this guy from there, and then let's move this guy from there, and what we can do is we can have one there and one there, and this is link ID 8, so we need another one link ID 8, and then let's link that one to there like that. So that's link ID 8 as well. So these are both link ID 8. Good. So they should be receiving power from our solar panel and from our big reactor. So if we start linking these up now and trying to touch all the sides of these so that we can get the maximum amount of RF. So our total RF should be around 35. So we need to touch 7 of these sides. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 8 sides that we're touching in total. So that should give us a maximum capacity for transfer from these of 40,000 RF per tick. And then if I just put another side on there, then that should be okay. So let's now see what we're getting in terms of input into our core. It should be around the 30k. Yeah, 36.16. Excellent. That's really nice. I like that. So now we can switch this back on, and we can allow a little bit of that to trickle into our base. Okay, so maybe we don't want the full amount to go into our base. Maybe we want to throttle it slightly. No, I don't think we want to throttle it actually, otherwise it will slow in powers down and stuff like that. So that will start filling that up fairly quickly. That will drop this to quite a lot. It's still got a net gain of quite a bit anyway. And it's just filling up internal buffers and stuff. So that's pretty good. What we need to do now, actually, is we need to put these transceivers down first of all, because I feel like an idiot for getting that completely backwards. For some reason I thought they were transceivers, but these will be used for some other things anyway. So let's get rid of this guy. There we go, we have him back. I'm sure we'll use that for something else. And we'll call this one Temple Ground. Nice. And then we should be able to see that with our thing. Good. I don't know what I was thinking doing that. What a moron. Okay, let's go over to this one and we'll get rid of this one. And then we'll wrap up the episode actually, because we're well over time, I think. So that one, and then this one. Crypt. Nice. Okay, so we've got our core set up. What we need to do next is to probably think about a couple of things. We need to think about the next things we're going to do in Draconic Evolution. We also want to think about creative power. So I might set up a lot of the stuff that we need to make quantum solar panels and tier 4 solar panels, and also these other solar panels and these elite solar panels. But I don't think any of this stuff is really too difficult for us to actually craft. So it's just a case of setting up some recipes. So I'll set up some of the recipes off cam, and then I'll come back in the next episode. We'll look at some creative power to start dumping some serious amounts of power in here, so we can have, maybe we can have like quite a few of these all sitting on top of creative capacitors, all just dumping power into our thing. My objective is to fill this up. We're at 0.01% at the moment, but we're going to change that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, and I hope you like my new temple, and I will see you guys next time. Oh yeah, come and join me on Discord as well, it's great. Thank you very much, goodbye.